Cairo is a city that never stops moving, with millions of people crowding its streets and offices every single day.
The city carries the weight of Egypt's politics, economy, culture, and history, all at once, and that weight has become enormous.
Cairo's wider urban area is now home to more than 20 million people, like squeezing an entire country into one capital region.
For decades, people from across Egypt moved toward Cairo because that is where the jobs, services, and opportunities were concentrated. That created a problem, as the city kept growing. But its core was never designed for this level of pressure. Older roads had to carry modern traffic, and historic districts had to absorb more people, so Cairo became overloaded. A short trip can turn into an hour-long battle, where everyone loses time inside the same crowded system. So Egypt decided to do something much bigger than adding a few roads or expanding a few districts.
It started building an entirely new capital city in the desert, around 45 kilometers east of Cairo.
The idea was simple on paper, but massive in reality: to build a new city from the ground up. Move the government there, create modern business districts, and give Egypt a second center of gravity outside Old Cairo. This is the new administrative capital, a massive planned city designed from scratch. The scale of Egypt's new administrative capital is the first thing that makes this project hard to ignore.
This is not a small government complex with a few ministries and apartment blocks around it.
The wider plan has often been described as covering around 700 square kilometers, or about 270 square miles. To put that into perspective, it is larger than Singapore.
And Egypt is not planning it for a few 100,000 people.
The long-term goal is to house around 6.5 million residents. That means the new capital is being designed at the scale of a major city by itself. If it reaches that population, it would be larger than many famous capitals in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. So when Egypt calls this a new capital, it is not just using a fancy name.
The project includes a government district where ministries and official buildings are being moved.
It includes a diplomatic district for embassies and residential zones for different income levels.
Although affordability remains one of the biggest questions around the project,
it includes the central business district, where China's role becomes very visible.
It also includes large public spaces, including the Green River, a long park system planned to cut through the city.
That name, Green River, is important, as Egypt is a country built around the Nile. So giving the new capital a central green corridor is not just a design choice.
instead of just concrete and roads in the desert, the new capital also includes some enormous symbolic buildings.
There is the new parliament area, major religious landmarks, a large cathedral, a major mosque, and the iconic tower.
These structures matter because capital cities are not only built to function, they are also built to send a message. Washington, D.C. uses monuments and government buildings to project power.
Brasilia used modernist architecture to show Brazil's future.
Dubai uses towers to show ambition and global finance. Egypt's new capital is trying to create its own image, modern, organized, powerful, and ready for the next century.
But the size also creates a serious challenge.
Building a city this large is not like building an airport or a bridge. A bridge becomes useful when traffic starts crossing it, And an airport becomes useful when flights begin operating.
But a city only works when people actually move there, live, and work there.
So the real question is not whether Egypt can build the roads, towers, and ministries. The bigger question is whether it can turn all of that infrastructure into a real city. And the most visible part of that new city is the skyline China is helping to build.
China's role in Egypt's new capital is one of the main reasons this project has attracted so much attention.
To be clear, China is not building the entire new administrative capital. Egypt is driving the project, Egyptian authorities control the plan, and many Egyptian companies are involved across different parts of the city.
But China is building one of the most visible and important sections, the Central Business District.
And that matters because when most people look at a new city, they do not judge it first by its water pipes, power stations, or road layouts.
They judge it by its skyline. That skyline is where China's work becomes impossible to miss.
The Central Business District is being built by China State Construction Engineering Corporation, one of the largest construction companies in the world.
This district is planned as the commercial heart of the new capital, with office towers, hotels, mixed-use buildings.
The numbers are massive. The district includes around 20 towers, and at its center is the iconic tower.
Rising about 385 meters, or about 1,263 feet, that makes it the tallest skyscraper in Africa.
It is taller than the Carlton Center in Johannesburg, which held the title of Africa's tallest building for decades.
But this is not just about height. For Egypt, the Central Business District is meant to send a message.
China's role in Egypt's new capital is one of the main reasons this project has attracted so much attention.
It wants it to look like a modern economic center, a place where companies, investors, hotels, banks, and international businesses can operate. That is why the Chinese-built district is so important. It gives the project a visual identity. Without the towers, the new capital could look like a huge collection of government buildings and residential compounds spread across the desert. With the towers, it starts to look like a new national center. It gives Egypt something that can appear in drone shots, promotional videos, and news reports. For China, the project also carries value. Chinese companies have spent years building railways, bridges, power plants.
The new administrative capital gives China a major showcase in North Africa, near one of the world's most important trade routes, the Suez Canal.
That location matters. Egypt connects Africa, the Middle East, and the Mediterranean. The Suez Canal handles a major share of global maritime trade, and Egypt has long wanted to turn the surrounding corridor into a stronger logistics and investment zone.
By helping build the new capital's business district, China places its engineering brand inside one of the most strategic countries in the region.
But there is also a practical reason Egypt chose Chinese involvement. China has experience building at enormous speed and scale.
For a project like this, Egypt needed contractors that could handle a complex job.
The total cost of the project has often been estimated at around $58 billion, although the exact number depends on what gets included. For instance, some parts are built directly by Egyptian entities, some involve private developers, some involve foreign contractors, and
So when people hear the number, the first question is obvious. Where is all this money coming from?
Egypt has often presented the new capital as a project that does not rely on the traditional state budget in the simple way people might assume. The city is managed through the Administrative Capital for Urban Development, known as ACUD, which is a state-owned company.
The funding model depends heavily on selling and leasing land, working with developers, attracting investment, and turning desert land into valuable real estate.
On paper, that can make sense. If the government controls a large area of desert land and then builds roads, power networks, water systems, and official districts,
developers then pay for plots, companies build offices, residents buy homes, hotels and malls come in.
Over time, the city can create its own economic engine. That is the idea.
But in reality, it is much more complicated. Egypt has faced serious economic pressure in recent years.
The country has dealt with high inflation, currency problems, rising import costs, and a heavy debt burden.
For ordinary Egyptians, the cost of daily life has become harder. Food, fuel, rent, transport, and basic goods have all placed pressure on households.
So when people see billions of dollars going into a new capital in the desert, many ask a fair question.
Should this money go into a new city, or should it go into existing neighborhoods, schools, hospitals, public transport, and housing inside cities where people already live?
That criticism matters. Supporters of the project argue that Egypt cannot solve its future problems by only patching old systems.
Into pressure. Cairo already carries too much pressure. If the country keeps adding people, cars, ministries, and companies.
So what do you think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.